Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stay. Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stay.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Lulu, and we are The Low. Today we have some special guests with us, but we also have our guest, our lovely guest McKinney. We have Michelle Brooks, and we also have Sade, and then
I can't hear guys.
we have Maria. You can't hear us at all?
Can't hear.
Okay. Well, we are live, so maybe you should log out and come back in, Sade.
I can't hear.
Oh, she can't hear anything. So text it.
Yeah. Okay, hold on one second. I sure will. Go ahead, McKinney. Okay,
So,
thank you.
Michelle, why don't you share with us a little bit of your experience with dealing with incarceration? We could start with that.
Me? Okay. 2019, I went to Leith. I was sentenced to 3 years and I ended up serving 20 months. Started out at Leith, stayed there for a month, and I was prepared, or I thought I was, for the harshness of prison. But I was not prepared that it was going to be coming from the staff, the officers. I thought, as I think a lot of people in my position do, that the inmates would be hard to deal with and that would be a problem. But I can honestly say I never had a problem with any inmate. They were like a family to me. But my experience with the staff, I'll never forget, and that was at both prisons that I was at.
So where were you incarcerated, Michelle? What state was that?
It was South Carolina. I was at
Okay.
Lee for a month, and then Camille Graham in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay. And so you've been out now, how long is it since September, did you say?
Got out September the 1st. Yes, I was up for parole in January, and my lawyer assured me when I signed the plea deal that I would have. He said, you'll serve about 4 months is what I had left because I spent a long time in county, and you'll be out. Parole never come to see me. I wrote letters. My mom called. They never did come to see me, and I ended up serving 2 extra months. I was supposed to serve 18, but I stayed 20, and for what reason I don't know. They just kept changing my time, and I did not get into any trouble. I was a model inmate, so I don't know where those 2 months come from, but there's nothing you can do about it once you're in there, pretty much. Except
So,
Wow.
and that's something that we hear on a regular basis, that in the state of South Carolina, there is no criteria that the parole board is held to. And so it's kind of like fly by night in regards to however they decide to approve or review people. And when they miss people's review for parole, typically what happens is people are just kind of stuck in limbo. And it's not as if, like, for example, if you miss your parole date, that they come back and catch up to it. They may just make a person wait until the next time that they're eligible for review before they're actually seen by the board. So that's a common trend that I hear a lot in the state of South Carolina.
You're right. From my experience, there's no rhyme or reason to how South Carolina deals with parole. The criteria is all over the place. There were girls in there that I had been eligible, say, for 6 months ahead of them. They had more time than me, and they got out months before I did. So I don't understand it. My mother called, and she was told that I was eligible, but that didn't necessarily mean I would get out at a certain time. And then she was told that they were coming to see me, and I never had a meeting.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Go ahead, McKinney. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. It's very unfortunate that you had to go through that experience. There's been worse than having to get released and then you don't get released.
It's very frustrating. It's disheartening. It's you know, you have that's the only hope that you have when you're in there. That you're going. It's like every day you wake up, you're wondering, is today the day? You write letters. Your family makes phone calls. You put all of your hope, all of your faith in getting a letter every day from parole, and it doesn't happen. And then you see people leaving ahead of you. It's just like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. South Carolina's criteria for parole is it's just not what it should be.
Yeah, so and just kind of like maybe to piggyback off of that, I know a lot of people who are incarcerated, they have a plan in their mind, you know, they have an idea of what they want to do. How did your plan kind of play out when you came home? Were things, you know, did they go the way that you anticipated them to go, or, you know, how was that?
Absolutely not. When I was in there, I made a decision that I was going to take everything I could from being in there. I was going to use my time wisely. I was going to have a plan of action for when I got out, and I'm really fortunate. I have a strong support system. Had I not had that support system, I really don't know how I would have made it. I've been out since September the 1st. I started looking for a job the day after I got out. I have a college degree. I graduated in 2017 with a degree in psychology. I was a business owner for several years, probably the last 10 before my incarceration. So I thought having that background, it wouldn't be as much of a problem as it was. But I can say I put out roughly 400 applications. I know it was between 4 and 500 applications, and I mean everything under the sun, and from waiting tables, dishwashing, everything I could possibly think of. I got so many rejection emails. It got to the point, and I can handle rejection, but I wasn't prepared for this amount of rejection. Um, I went to a job interview. I even spoke with you that day, Lulu, afterwards. It was for job waiting tables, and they call me in. I get in there and I see the question on the application, have you been charged with a felony? And I thought, well, they wouldn't have called me up here if there wasn't a chance, you know, that I'd get the job. And the lady looks at me, she says, I'm sorry, we don't hire felons. And it was that time after time after time again. But I kept on, and I did get a job 10 days ago, I think. So it's taken all that time. And there was not one day where I sat by idly. I was not prepared for all the rejection that I got.
You are resilient. Very
Thank you.
resilient.
You have to be, but it's hard. And my mother and I, we lived together, and I didn't want her to know what I was going through because she loves me so much. It would have hurt her. But so I had to put on a false sense of strength, I guess you could say. But all of that rejection really, it really gets to you. It makes you doubt your self worth. And people say you've paid your debt to society, and when you get out, I don't think if you're a felon that debt to society's ever paid because they do hold it against you. And there's not one day that goes by that I don't fear my current job's going to find out I'm a felon because it's a good job, and I'm in graduate school right now. I really need this job, and every day I worry that they're going to find out because it's so hard to get a job.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really, you know, that's heartbreaking. And I know I've talked to you a couple of times, and you're definitely a sweetheart, and you definitely are very resilient, as McKinney said. And so, you know, I'm just glad to see that something has come along until greater things happen. I believe that, you know, good things happen to those who strive for it, and you definitely continue to strive for greatness. So, thank you for being here with us again. I know it started off a little shaky, but we are so happy to have you guys here talking to us, talking to our viewers about what it's like, being incarcerated as a woman and returning home. Sade, tell us a little bit about your journey returning home, or your process of incarceration. Just tell us whatever you want us to know. Go right ahead.
Um, so I guess the process of incarceration, I did 8 years federal. I'm sorry guys, I have allergies if I'm coughing. I went in when I was 25. I came out when I was 34. I had owned 4 mental health companies, and I owned 4 nonprofits. Basically, what I did is trust in people with my business and allow my heart to, kind of get the better of me. Like trying to help everybody, want everybody to win, want everybody to succeed. Trust in people. Somebody come along and say, hey, it's supposed to be done like this, and just not aware of my surroundings and the people I had around me. So I ended up going when I was 25. I left a 1-year-old, an 8-month-old, and a 9-year-old. I self-surrendered. The federal marshals told me if I self-surrender, I could go on pre-trial that same day and go back home to my kids. I never seen my kids again in the free world until I was 34. So it's like a honesty in the criminal justice system. That's first and foremost. As she said, like with everybody asks when I get home, like, oh God, how was prison? And it's not the inmates that you have to worry about. It's the guard, warden, it's the captain. You have staff males that's having, intercourse with females, and they're getting them pregnant, and then the women are getting punished for it. And this is not nothing that nobody doesn't know. If you Google it, it happened at Dublin, it happened at Tallahassee. So it's just like you're not safe inside a prison. So when we come home, we have post-traumatic stress disorder, not only from prison, but from males, because you really don't have that trust because of everything that happened. So upon coming, I did the 8 years in prison. I was at West Virginia. I was in Tallahassee, and then I was in Dublin. And so when I was in prison, basically what I did was I said, okay, they took 8 years from me. This is what I, they took from me. I gave them this. So when I come back, it's either I'm going to, be dependent on it and use that as, a woe is me, or it's going to be like, okay, now I'm going to get you back. So you got me, now it's my turn to get you. So my 8 years, I read, I studied, I took vocational classes. I was the reentry clerk. I was a teacher in education. I did CMS clerk work. So anything that it was to do, I learned it. And so I built like a good rapport with the staff, like with counselors. I would get them to print information out for me. I would sit and have conversations with them. And so I had a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I didn't have just an A, B, and C because anything, can happen. Mm-hmm. So upon me going home, in my mind, I was like, well, yeah, when I go home, my kid's dad is still out there. My mom, I had a wonderful support system, a great mom, took care of my kids and everything. But as with most women, my kid's father sold drugs. And so on my way out, I'm thinking, well, he has all this money put up for me when I go, come home, I'm going to be good. Luckily, I had all those plans, lined up together because on my way out, he caught 10 years fed time. So first, my kids don't, have a mother for 8 years. Now they don't have a father for 10 more. So when I found that out, my last year in prison, I said, hey, you know what? Something has to be done for children of incarcerated parents and incarcerated inmates, because the things that women go through in prison, not only women, but men, the things that the children have to go through, visitation, you can't touch, really hold, hug. And so basically what you're doing is you're watching your kids grow up, and it's just like no touching, no hugging, no emotion, nothing. And that builds a resentment. It builds abandonment issues, not only from the kids, but from the parents. So with me being gone that long, 8 years, I had to relearn my kids. Like I had to come home and be able to feel like, okay, it's okay to touch you. It's okay to hug you. As I said, when on my way home, on my way out, my kid's father called 10 years bedtime. So when I come home, it's like, all right, I got this. I can bounce back. As soon as I get out, Corona hits. So when Corona hits, it's like, well, everything's shut down. I don't have a driver's license. On the way out, they don't give you your social security card. They don't give you ID, birth certificate. You have nothing. So when they release you from prison into the real world, there's no rehabilitating you in prison unless you go and do it yourself. And a lot of inmates don't do it themselves because either they get medicated, and that's the norm in prison. They medicate you and sedate you so they don't have to be bothered with you. And so inmates don't know any better. We don't know how to cope. And so me, as like I did 8 years, I was on medication my whole bid to take away and numb the pain. So either it's that or they're giving women testosterone shots to become men. And what people don't feel like, what they fail to realize is whenever you're coming out, you don't have Medicaid, you don't have identification, you can't get health care. So you go all these years with taking medication daily, all day, 6 pills a day, or getting testosterone shots, plus taking pills 2 times a day to coming home and now you just drop. You don't have anything. So the same way a person that is on drugs for years, or the same way a person is an alcoholic all these years, we are codependent on pills. We are codependent on testosterone shots. So when you come home, a lot of people go crazy. They turn to cocaine, meth, heroin, whatever it is to cope with the same coping mechanisms that you had in prison. So when you come home, you don't have those things. So Corona hit, and when Corona hit, it's just like, all right, boom. I went through a depression because, okay, yeah, I'm here with my kids, but I don't have any money to take care of them. And in my mind, it was like, I got to take care of my kids. I got to take care of my kids. I got to get back together. And I tried to rush myself, but I guess God had better things in store because that time gave me a little bit of time to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm put this together. And so with that being said, when I came home, I became really. I got a kid that plays football. He just keeps calling. I'm sorry. Whenever I came home, I ended up meeting Topeka K. Sam, and she's a big advocate for the criminal justice system. She does a lot of great things for women, everybody. I flew out there. I don't know, did it go out?
Yeah, it's not showing you on the screen.
Can anybody hear me? You guys hear me?
We
Yeah,
can hear you. We just can't see you.
Oh God. Okay, I don't know what happened. Do you need me to log out, log back in, or
You can try that. That'll be fine.
do you want me to tell the story and then log out and log back in?
Yeah, go ahead and finish telling your story since we can hear you. And then
Okay. So I
a
ended up.
little technical difficulties. Thank y'all.
Oh, sorry. I ended up meeting Topeka K. Sam, and I flew out there to see her. Like it was like when I got home, it's like, okay, I'm gonna meet somebody. I'm gonna find somebody. Somebody gonna do something. And so I inboxed her as soon as I got home, and I'm like, reading up on different people that were incarcerated. I'm like, I'm gonna start this mass movement because now I'm angry at the government. I want to help these people. I want to help these people. So I had inboxed her. And when I inboxed her, it was in February. And so I didn't get a response from her. So I'm like, all right, move on to the next step. So I created a company called Breaking Bondage. And Breaking Bondage is basically for not just individuals that are incarcerated, it's individuals that are in at-risk communities that are basically destined for failure. They're basically destined to become incarcerated inmates. You have children who don't have a father who may be either deceased or who's incarcerated. You have children that don't have a mother because maybe she's in jail, she may be on drugs, or she's just not there. So those children are guaranteed to go into prisons. And so a lot of people say, oh, we're on this thing to stop, recidivism and break recidivism rates. That's never going to happen because you have all these children and all these, idle times where children aren't being taken care of, that they're going to end up going into the criminal justice system. And so recidivism is never going to stop and it's never going to be lowered because it's just like basically the new Jim Crow. But I'm not going to get on that right now. So anyway, I met Topeka K. Sam. I did. I emailed her. She didn't respond back. And so I started the Breaking Bondage. And when I started Breaking Bondage, first thing I did was started feeding the homeless because that's just a whole bondage in itself. And then I, opened up a center in Shelby. I saved all my unemployment checks because everybody know Corona came through and you had unemployment. So I saved all my unemployment checks, and I ended up with my best friend opening a center in Shelby, North Carolina, and it was called Breaking Bondage. And then so it's like when I opened up Breaking Bondage, it's just like God was like, okay, I tried your heart. I tried to see, where your mind was, and now it's time to elevate. So since then, I got an email back from Topeka K. Sam. I do a lot of things with her. I help her out. I got in touch with Southwest T. He was with this organization called BMF, which a lot of them went to federal prison, and so I do things with Terry, which that's Big Meech's brother. He ended up coming home. Free Pretty Girls, which is Big Meech's sister. I'm the CFO of her organization. I do things in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, opening up nonprofits and helping at-risk communities. I do stuff like in North Carolina. I do a lot of stuff. I got my hands in a lot of stuff right now, and I say all that to say, like, I know a lot of people. They say, like, whenever you come home from prison, it's hard to get a job. It's hard to get reintegrated. And I've learned if a person don't want to give you something, you got to take it. And sometimes when they don't want to give you jobs, create your own jobs. And it's not that people don't want to, it's that they don't know how. So say, for instance, with the lady that we have on here now, she has those degree, like she has her degree, she has that experience. Rehabilitating individuals doesn't just go in prisons. It has to be out in like society. So that's that.
Yeah, well, that was a whole lot, Sade, and I thank you so much for sharing. If you want to bounce out and come right back in so we can ask you a bunch of questions, I'd appreciate it so we can look at your face. And but I mean, I think that is definitely something that people don't take into consideration. I think you oftentimes hear about how difficult it is for those while they're incarcerated to even be rehabilitated and receive the programming that they need in order to kind of prepare themselves. I know that just working with a lot of men who are incarcerated, some of their biggest concerns are not being ready for the world, because depending upon what type of crime you're in prison for, that determines whether or not you're eligible for rehabilitative programming. And so if you are, if you are in a situation where you are a violent offender, or, you have a life sentence, you're 9 times out of 10 not necessarily offered various rehabilitative programming. A lot of the programming is set up for people who are scheduled to get out soon. So that doesn't mean that person will never get out of prison. It just means that they've sat and done their time in prison. And if they're not proactive enough, then there is no rehabilitation taking place. And that is also a high, that's also where a high number of recidivism comes, because in order for you to get something out of your mind that you haven't put in it, you got to put some new stuff in there. You can't get something out of your mind that was never put in it. And so a lot of what brings people to incarceration is a mindset. And so that's something that a person in their cells, like on the inside of them, has to basically decide. Like the government, the state, whoever it is, they're not going to be the ones to take charge for me. I have to go ahead and do that myself. And so that's just what we kind of see a lot of times with people who are incarcerated, and they're, steadfast in believing that they can get out and still be successful. Those are the people who we see kind of taking on, different programming and being in charge of this and setting things up while they're inside, to help them be more resilient when they get to the outside. But sometimes the rude awakening of what's really going on out here versus what was going on when you got in can really set you back, because I don't know about y'all, because y'all have been incarcerated, Michelle and Sade, but it's like, for me 10 years ago, we could still call an employer and say, hey, I applied for a job. My name is such and such. Or you could walk into a place and say, hey, my name is, and hand them your resume and potentially be seen by a person. And now everything is so electronic. And if you didn't have exposure to that, it's like, how do you, overcome that obstacle, for lack of better words or whatever. So, there's a lot of things. And Sade, you hit on a bunch of good points. So I'm gonna let somebody else besides me talk and ask anybody some questions that they have. And Michelle, if any of this is making you, reminding you of anything and you want to add some more to it, please feel free and do so, because we want people to hear your stories. We want people to know that incarceration doesn't look like wild animals sitting inside of a cage waiting to be fed 3 meals a day and let out for bathing and for fresh air. Incarceration looks like everyday people that look like you and I, and we all know that statistics show that 1 in 2 people are impacted by incarceration. And so that's why it's important to show the variation of what incarceration looks like.
I think what's interesting is how different female prisons are from male prisons with the treatment. Because the first thing you guys, both of you mentioned, was the fact that um, your biggest concern was the officers and not other prisoners. So I find that extremely not really interesting, but it's sad that you guys have to be on the defense at all times. And you also mentioned, Shade, you mentioned something about um, PTSD. And what I do know about PTSD is that it leaves a permanent indentation in your brain. So that level of abuse, first of all, I feel like should be compensated for. They do need programs in these prisons that target mental health. It has to rehabilitate you. And I feel like based on the crime that somebody had committed or whatever they were charged for, they should be taking some rehabilitative programs to actually help, because prison has none of that. And that's part of the problem. So, can you guys share your experiences and some of the trauma? You don't have to get in details, but what is it that was so frightening with these officers in these female prisons? Because we're not really hearing the same thing when you're dealing with these male prisoners. So I want to know, like, what are these women doing? And I spoke to a lot of people who have been incarcerated, females that have been incarcerated, and their experience is, sometimes they don't have family that comes and visits them. They're not really getting that kind of support. And when you look on the opposite end of that, when you're dealing with men prisons, you see a whole line outside the door waiting to see their visits, to have their visits. But it's not the same for female prisons, is what I'm being told. So how was that experience with you, with both of you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that one more time? My phone had went out. I'm sorry. You said
Yeah. So your experience, because like my husband is incarcerated. Lulu's husband is incarcerated. So what me and Lulu see from our perspective with dealing with incarceration is we see a lot of women that support their loved ones. We're seeing a lot of people, there's lines out of the door. People are lined up for hours. But from the women that I've actually encountered who have been incarcerated, they have a completely different story. They don't have family coming to visit them. There aren't long lines. People aren't really checking for them like that. And then within the prisons, their treatment is a lot harsher, even with dealing with sanitary hygiene. That is a struggle dealing with that, because you guys are not getting the proper hygiene products. Nobody seems to care. And then they're limiting how often you can actually shower. So it's actually worse than people think it is.
I think that personally, the reason why it's so much worse in women facilities is because the men are not going to go for it. For one, when the men have an issue, the men stick together, and they're going to, do a lockdown. They're going to, protest. They're going to, by any means necessary, what they have to do. That's what's going to be done. in women's prison, it's just like it is in the free world. Nobody sticks together.
Right.
Nobody wants to write up, different instances or things that happen. They want one voice to speak for everybody, and that's why a lot of women, when they come out into society, is just the same as they were in prison. It's a nonchalant, like, you can do it, or I want somebody to do it for me. Nobody sticks together. Women also in prison are treated less than, because and it's even with the wardens. You have wardens who are embezzling money. Basically, that's why we don't get what we need, because you have wardens, you have the captains that are taking the money that we are allotted for commissary and that we're allotted for our needs, as far as even with commissary, like food in the kitchen, everything is always a shortage because they're taking the money. So the same thing that they put us in prison for, they do it, and it's made fine, and nobody does anything about it. So a lot of times that's what goes on in all the prisons. And I know that you had asked, about the different treatment. That's my opinion. And you also asked, what was my experience as far as being in prison, being incarcerated, and what effect did it have, on me now. Now, when I come home, I just have a lack of respect for government officials, period. I have no respect for them at all, because all of them, in my mind, 99.9% of them are crooked. You have 1% that may be good, and nobody can change my mind. Nobody can tell me, oh, well, it's not. I'm telling you what I've seen, what I've experienced. When I'm in prison, and I have federal, agents telling me basically if I don't sign a bill of information, not even an indictment. I didn't have an indictment when I went to prison. I had a bill of information that says, okay, if you don't sign this documentation off the strength that you don't want to sign it, we're going to lock your mom up. So it comes to the point where, am I going to let them incarcerate my mom because I don't want to sign a piece of paper? Or am I going to let them go and incarcerate 40 to 60 more people that they don't have evidence on, but they want that conviction? So time, it's like when your back is up against the wall, you do what you think is best. So when I've seen that firsthand, I have no respect for them at all. And in my opinion, the government is the biggest mafia or whatever else that everybody want to call it. Same thing. The reason why they lock other individuals up, it's the same thing that they do.
Yeah.
I've seen officers who basically demean women. You have a lot of women that are incarcerated. They come in there from prostitution. They come in there from trafficking or whatever else. They come in there for, holding drugs or whatever for a man that they love or that they, thought loved them. And so when you have those women that are broken and you have no good trifling officers that go and prey on that, because for one, if you locked up for 20 years, that's what they're giving basically women time for now, 15, 20 years for drugs or prostitution or human trafficking, and you're not going to be going home, and a male shows you the slightest bit of attention, or he comes and he brings you in Victoria's Secrets, or he brings you in these type of things, then of course, like, you have some women that are weak. And so when women go and they fall for it, it's like the officer should be at fault, but the women get punished for it. And all they do is take an officer and put him in another location so he can do the same to another woman. So I have no respect for government officials, period, at all. That's one of the traumatic experiences that I have. Coming home, I stay in my cell because I have a bad temper, and if I don't see something that's right, I will go to the shoe and I lay it down. I have my mom call up there. I write, region. So I stay to myself. So now when I come home and I sleep, I keep the doors closed. I don't like the doors open because I'm used to them closing the doors at night. I'm used to them closing us in for a count. Medication. Even when I try to wean myself off of it and say, you know what, I don't need it. It's embedded in me for 8 years. And so it's that instant gratification that I get at that point where when I'm going through stuff in the world and I want to take my mind off of it, I'll go and I'll medicate myself with the medication that the government put me on to supposedly help me, but it only hindered me.
So they just went ahead and gave you guys, everybody, medication, and this was procedure?
So basically, let's say, for instance, you're going through something in prison, and all you want to do is be a counselor or go see somebody to talk about something. They'll see psychology and put you on medication.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the only thing that's the issue that I have, and I was telling Lulu this, even with individuals that are trying to go home on pretrial or trying to come home on parole that's been locked up 15, 20, 25 years. You want to tell people when you go to the parole board, oh, you're not rehabilitated enough, or we don't. First of all, you didn't give a person an intake or assessment mentally to see where they were rehabilitated to help them make it off parole. So if you're saying that they're not meeting that criteria, then who's failing who? Are we failing you as individuals that are trying to get back to society and you don't feel we are, ready? Or are you failing us? Because basically what you're saying is you don't give us an intake coming in as inmates. You need to diagnose us, see what's going on. You got people who've been molested, who've seen people get killed in front of them, who's been through traumatic events in life.
Mhm.
So you don't know what caused them to come to the point that they are now. And the intakes are not being done, so you can't assess me and give me a treatment plan to even help me rehabilitate. So how can you tell me when I try to go before parole, I'm not rehabilitated because you
Mhm.
want that money for that bed? That's all it's about.
Yep. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's just a number at the end of the day, and that's unfortunate
It
because
is unfortunate. And I think that, you hit on some very, very sobering points. You know what I mean? And it's hard to hear as someone, and I know that they say that women don't stick together, but I am absolutely someone that believes in my sisters, that believes in empowerment, that believes in supporting and being there for other women. And that's how I've gotten connected with pretty much everyone on here,
Mhm.
through some level of support and connection. And so it's hard and it's sad and it's unfortunate to hear, the things that take place. I'm always the heartstrings are always playing on me when I hear about incarceration, period. Michelle, do you have anything you want to add to that? Like, has this brought up anything in you that you're like, man, I saw a lot of that? Or
I think the thing that I saw the most of, the most prevalent situations was like, for example, there was one inmate there that was having a sexual relationship with both a female and a male officer. And the male officer there, and I know this for a fact, I saw it happen, and the inmate told me it happened. The male officer was bringing her methadone in, the female officer was bringing her Victoria's Secret in. This happened so much. I know of an officer at the second prison I was in that had an inmate that I know of it was selling drugs for. And you have to wonder. I mean, you have to wonder if the lieutenants don't know about it and they're just overlooking it because it happens so much. As a matter of fact, one of the officers that was selling drugs and had actually one of my old roommates selling drugs for him just got caught at Camille a couple of weeks ago bringing in meth in a salad. So
oh yeah,
it's
oh my goodness, I saw that. It was like big bobos of
yeah,
drugs in the
90.
middle of their like McDonald's salad or whatever. Like, who
It,
did you think?
it happened so much. And the warden even came down because I was in ATU, which was a rehabilitation inside of the prison, which was a joke. But the warden came down one day and told us this was during COVID. No, there were no visitation. No visitation at all. And she told us, she said, there's a big drug problem in this prison. She said, and we all know where it's coming from. She said, apparently the officers are bringing it in. And I mean, that's a big deal there. But to see officers having other inmates sell drugs for them in there, that's sad. It's really sad. It is. And
Yes. In
preying on,
this
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
It's just, you see it on, they're preying on these women that do have a lot of time and don't have any family support. And, these officers are their only way of means to get to go to canteen or get to have the things that they need. It's sad. It's really sad.
It is. And I think that what people need to understand, and I've gotten into it with, someone who's incarcerated who felt like, those officers who were bringing in those items were there to, they were good to them. They were support. And really, yeah, they might have been good to you because it's good for them. You know what I mean? They're serving themselves. in doing what they do. And so, it's just unfortunate that that's the type of thing that happens. But I definitely, I definitely feel, and I'm just so glad to kind of get some of these things out in the air. Maria, what are you thinking? Do you have any thoughts behind all of this?
Yeah, I was thinking what baffles my mind is that they bring this stuff in and then it's the inmate that gets in trouble. You know, a
That's
lot of times the officers just moved or moved to another facility and nothing happens to them. And ultimately, there are no visits right now. So who else is bringing it in? Obviously, officers, nurses, people, staff, and those people never get held accountable for it. So,
but the inmates will catch extra charges for it.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So what was that like, Michelle? Was it like, so, going along with what McKinney said in regards to visitation, did you guys have a lot, did you personally have a lot of visitors come to visit you? Did you see other people?
No, I wouldn't. The whole time I was incarcerated, I would not let my mother come see me because she just couldn't take it. I didn't want her to see me like that. And in ATU we had something called family focused Saturdays where everyone in the ATU program, and it was about 74, 75 of us, had to go to each inmate's visitation with their family, and it was like a big class we would hold. We did that 2 or 3 times, and then they ended the visitations. But I didn't have any visits. Mm-mm.
And that's so essential too, because how do you communicate with the outside? Because you have to have at least some sort of communication to kind of stay afloat and keep your mind off of prison.
You do. I lived for my phone calls to my mother. My mother is the only person I called when I was in there. We're so close. And but I knew that if she saw me in that situation and in that environment, she, as close as we are, it would not be good. So I asked her to please not come see me. And she didn't. And it's hard when I was in there, a lot of inmates say that they forget about the outside world while they're in there, and that's their means of survival. For me, it was a total opposite. Knowing that there was an outside world and I would be connected to that again one day whenever I re-entered society is the only thing that kept me going. Um, but I can't imagine what it's like for the people in there that have no visitations because they don't want to come see them, or they don't have phone calls to make, they don't get letters. I can't imagine surviving in there like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sad.
And unfortunately, I think Sade is having a little technical difficulty. She's trying to get back in, but I think that what we need to kind of take away from this and in all of that is, there has to be some type of change. And what I do know is that in a lot of different states we see change happening, but it's still solely based on the money that people are making from the change that's being made. Legislators and lobbyists and all those people who are empowered to be in positions to make change actually happen. They're only doing it if something's in it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so since we know, that 85% of people, I think the number might be a little bit higher than that, all return back to society. I think there needs to be some level of accountability set in place to say, at the time of a person's incarceration, that, this person is responsible for completing XYZ programming in order to be eligible for release. But on the flip side of that the state is then also responsible for offering the programming that's necessary in order for the rehabilitative works to take place. And I think that a lot of things that happen basically kind of focus on the criminal in the criminal nature that's in the person who committed crimes. It's never really focused around the why behind the reasons why people do the things that they do. And while some people have committed heinous crimes, we don't know what happened to that person in their life that brought them to a point where they are able to go ahead and felt like that was what they had to do in order to live or to protect themselves or to be just sane in a certain space. And I think that there's definitely a difference in the Black and brown community in regards to sentencing and things like that. And so let me ask you this, Michelle, what did you notice, if you noticed anything different, you know, in your story versus someone, who was in the Black or brown community that, you were like, wow, that's really unfair? Or, have you come across people's stories where you just thought, I just can't believe that this is the amount of time that this person got?
I have, unfortunately, I have noticed that most of the Black or brown inmates that were at Camille with me received a whole lot more time for the same crimes as people
Like,
like that.
give me an example. I want to know some examples. I want to know,
The
I was,
difference in the years.
yeah, yeah. I was in there with two ladies. The black lady, I believe she was in her late 20s, and the white lady was in her, I want to say 49 or 50. They both were in there for the same charge, and that was they got caught mailing drugs to a prison. Whereas the white lady got 3 years, the black lady, I want to say maybe it was 12 or 13 years. And it was for like it was not a big difference in the amount or anything. That's a big difference in time. It really is. And I'm not saying that that's the norm. I don't know if it is, but you have to kind of wonder whenever you see instances like that time after time again. I mean,
Yeah. And I think that it helps when people kind of speak out about it, right? Because as Black people, Black and brown people, we can say it all day long, and it's just almost like falling on deaf ears. But when we have other people kind of speak out for us and to the circumstances, then it helps. It really does help, because a lot of people in their understanding of incarceration perish because of due to lack of knowledge. They don't really understand. They don't know what is going on or how, it's happening. All they know is that you shouldn't have did the crime if you didn't want to do the time. And they don't understand the components behind what actually happens and the differences. And that's just unfair.
what I noticed a lot was, like I said, I saw a lot of women in there that were given pretty hefty sentences for small crimes that they should have gotten rehabilitation rather than prison sentences. I mean, like possession charges, where they got a whole lot more time than what they should have gotten. You really didn't see that so much with the white inmates, but I saw a lot of possession charges where women were pulling quite a few years, and to me, that's ridiculous. It really is.
It definitely is. The system is heavily flawed because Black people make up what, 30% of the population, and in prisons we make up 65, close to 65. So there is a big difference in the numbers, and there is a big difference in the charges that are given to Black and brown people as opposed to non-Black and brown people. And that's a part of the problem. It's about systematic racism that nobody's fixing and failing to acknowledge is a problem in this country and actually all over the world. It is an issue. Um, these institutions should not be able to dehumanize people the way that they do. If
Exactly.
the Department of Corrections is put in place to correct, then why aren't there any programs that are placed within these institutions to actually do what the title is? Correct.
And accountability.
And
Accountability.
accountability.
There's no accountability.
Zero accountability.
Well,
That's another problem, because you have a lot of people in these high places that are making these decisions for people's lives and are aware that it is generational genocide, and they don't care. They don't care. They're in
they,
high positions. It's like, who cares about this kid? Who cares about that kid? Whatever. Just get them out of here, put them in the jail, and let's keep it rolling, because it's $100,000 per capita to keep somebody in prison. It's a money game. They're not concerned about life and the amount of life that it's taking away from people. It's not just one person that's incarcerated. It is a community of people that are affected by one person being incarcerated. And that's what people need to really realize, especially those that are indirectly affected by incarceration. If I have a family member that's incarcerated and you know about it, but you don't have a direct connection to me, and you're still affected by it, because you're seeing that somebody else is directly affected by it. You're still affected by it on a financial level. You're still affected by it on every kind of level you can think of. And we as a community need to acknowledge this and actually support those that are trying to rehabilitate back into society.
right.
Enough
Um,
is enough.
I don't, what's so sad to me is the fact that inmates, while you're incarcerated, you have all of these plans, you have all of these good ideas for the future. And when you get out, you have no idea of what type of reality is going to hit you in the face. I I put in to get my cosmetology license reinstated in September. I'm still waiting on state board to decide whether or not they want to approve. And you pay a lot in fines to have this and that reinstated. You have to prove yourself. 6 months I've been waiting. I can see now, and I hate to say this, but I can see now why people do recidivate, why they do go back to selling drugs, why they do go back to robbing people, prostitution. I I don't think it's a matter of doing it out of want, but it's a matter of doing it out of need. Because when you get out, every good intention that you have is just that, it's an intention, and people have to survive. But they have no idea during incarceration how hard it's going to be when you get out.
That's a cold slap in the face.
It certainly is. I was not prepared for it at all. I thought I'd pick up my cosmetology license, go back to doing hair, take my college degree, and live happily ever after. And none of that. I couldn't even get a job. I went to an interview at Walmart. Walmart said no, and pretty much
And they're
everything.
supposed to be felon friendly. Walmart is on the list of felon friendly employers, and so that's odd to me.
They gave me the interview, and I had to fill out something about my charge and all that. But one thing, I got out and I was talking to someone in the solicitor's office trying to find out about an expungement. And I see now why I wasn't getting job. I had charges that I was not convicted of that are still on my criminal history report. And of course, that was a hefty fine to get the non-charges taken off. But that in itself right there is so unfair, and it's keeping people from being able to get on with their lives. She told me, she said, "Well, you have 7 charges on here that were non-convictions. How's that even legal that they
To
do
put
that?"
some, if you weren't charged of something, why is it associated with your name then?
Exactly. And even though I was not convicted of that, I was found not guilty. If an employer is looking at your criminal history report, and they see that, chances are they're not going to take a chance on you. So, and
So
when I'm
do
sorry, go
you
ahead.
think? I'm sorry. Do you think that your new employer didn't even look?
When I went to the interview, the man who hired me told me, he said, "All right, I have all of your information. I'd like to offer you a job." He said, "Human Resources will run a soft criminal history report, and I'll get back in touch with you Monday." So I prayed, and I would not let myself accept the idea that I was not going to get the job. I went ahead and claimed it, got prepared to go to work, and it worked out for me. But I don't know what a soft criminal history report is, but I don't know if they know or not, and I'm not asking.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask about it.
No, they know I'm a
Yeah.
hard worker. I'm dependable now. So I know I've proven myself, but at the same time, those non-convictions on there, they were pretty bad because of the person I was involved with. And they're pretty bad. So I had no idea when I was an inmate that I'd be facing that and having to wait so long, 3 months to have it processed, hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have each one of them taken off. Luckily, I had a family that could provide me with that money. Most people don't.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a big story. You know, the families are taxed so much by incarceration in itself. And then their loved one returns home. And yes, we're so happy to have you with open arms, but everyone doesn't have the luxury of preparing to take in another mouth and to feed another adult person for an extended period of time, because God only knows when you will be employed. And so that's a whole nother thing in itself. And so, I really thank you, Michelle, and I thank Sade for being here. I know she's all, ticked off because she wanted to kind of finish out the show. We do have a sister show called The Voice, and it specifically talks about women in incarceration. The women that you all see on the show today, both Michelle and Maria is our guest today, and Sade have, well, not Maria, but Michelle and Sade have been incarcerated, but they're also going to be working with me on my event coming up, our community summit in South Carolina. This April 3rd in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and Michelle will be one of the speakers at that event. And so I'm glad that I was able to have her here today. And so, she can share her story, because what we don't know as people, majority of the time, we hide behind our shame, but our stories help to heal other people. And I'm super big on healing, and I can't wait for Sade or even you, Michelle, to link up with our sister show, The Voice, that focuses on women who are incarcerated specifically, because there's a big thing to kind of unfold and uncover. So does anybody else have any questions? I do have some more announcements that I would like to make before we're all said and done, but we're coming to that time. So Maria, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, nothing that I can think of. I just, your story, Michelle, is definitely very resilient, and I think it's horrible that it took you that long to get a job. And I feel like that definitely needs to be changed so that you can come out and have a job. You've paid your time. So I wish you the best.
Exactly.
McKinney?
I wish you the best with everything.
Oh,
And I pray that you get that job that you
thank
want. And, God opens some doors for you because you have some talents.
Yeah, and I'm in graduate school right now, so that's good.
That's
That's
great.
amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I'm 100% certain some doors are going to bust wide open for both Michelle and Sade. Sade, she blows my mind every day that I talk to her, and she's just very real and just to the point and cutthroat about everything. And she is not afraid. And, just as being a wife of someone who's incarcerated, I was afraid for a long time to kind of speak out. And just in the short time of me knowing her, she has really empowered me. And I think that what people don't know about her story is that she's only been out a year. And so, she's really, kind of made some moves in that regard. And so I commend both you and Sade. We thank you, Maria, for being on the show with us today. I do want to let everybody know that our show is sponsored by the National Plus Coalition. And if you are interested in being a part of the National Plus Coalition, as its endeavors, freedom fighting, activism, or what have you, please follow the National Plus Coalition on Facebook. And from there, you can send a message or send an email, and someone in our recruitment team will follow up with you. So thank you guys for coming again tonight. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you again not next week, but the week after on the low.
On the
Have
low.
a great night.